Hi friends, I'm Anna Helman, and today I want to share with you a really quick and easy way to make beautiful cards using one little tool, blending brushes. These are fun to create. They create unique results every time. Let's take a look at them. Before we start, I want to show you that the blending brushes I'm using in this tutorial are my small blending brushes. You have seen me use my larger ones that I've had in my collection for quite a while. You've seen me use them for all kinds of projects. And just lately, I've started using my small ones a lot more. I found that these are helpful for blending smaller areas of color, filling in stamped images where I don't want this much color in a particular area. I've just found that these are helpful for some different things than my larger ones. So for this tutorial, I am going to be using my smaller blending brushes. And I thought while we were here, I would just show you my little storage that I store my blending brushes in, which is really helpful. So what we are going to do, we're going to use a particular bundle. I show it to you before we start. It's called Lazy Days. Brand new. Coming with the new catalog May 2nd, and I am excited to create some fun projects with this. So start here. I have my blending brushes. Anytime you are blending, you probably want some kind of paper to protect your background. And I am going to use all neutrals on this first project. And when you use your blending brushes, you don't have to have one for every different color. Like I'm using several shades of gray and brown. I don't have to have one for every one of those. I mainly just keep one blending brush per color grouping. So like one for all my reds, one for all of my yellows, one for all my greens, etc. What we're going to do to create these cards is to create a blended background. To cover just a portion of the card, what I've done is I created some templates that I cut a die out of the center of these. So this is one that I created from a die set called Something Fancy. This is just a basic oval die set, and I have prepared these. I also put a little bit of my favorite glue that I use for everything, my multi-purpose glue. Here I put a little stream around the edge and I let these sit for a little bit so that would dry. Once it dries, it makes it removable, but just to make sure it doesn't tear your project when you remove it, I like to put this against my shirt a few times to pick up a little bit of lint, and that way it should be good and not be too sticky and damage my project. Now I also don't press down super hard when I attach these because at times I have had them tear my projects in the past, but if you get a little lint on it and don't press down too hard, it should be perfect for this. So now I am just going to blend inside of this area right here. And I am going to start with some gray granite. Now, if you notice, I pick up the ink with a swirling motion. I always, when I remember, blot my extra color on my scrap paper. And then I start on my project, and if possible, depending on what I'm doing, I like to start where it's not actually going to show on my card. So I'll start blending down here on my piece that will get removed, and then I'm going to slowly move up into the area that will actually show. So I am just going to apply a little bit of this gray granite down at the bottom. And the reason I wanted to use my small brushes for this were so I could get smaller areas of color. You will especially notice this on the last card project I will share in this tutorial. And since I'm switching colors, if you're concerned about one color contaminating another ink pad, try to get as much of that color off on your scrap paper as you can. Now I can start here and blend in, or if I was pretty sure there was not too much ink on the brush itself, so that's why I started right there in the center of my project. But in many cases I try and avoid that so I don't end up with blobs of color right in the center. So now we have a little bit of that crumb cake. Now let's add a little bit of this new color I've been having a lot of fun with. It's called Pecan Pie. And we'll add just a little bit of this up here at the top. My favorite part of using blending brushes is the results when I remove the mask or the stencil, whatever I'm using to blend inside of. If I'm using something on that project, I love the way it looks when it comes off, because right now it looks like something. It doesn't look amazing by any means. But then when we remove that, we get this really neat look that is a lot more interesting, in my opinion, than it was when that cardstock piece was still in place. So what I'm going to do with this, I'm going to use a few stamps from the stamp set, and this is a recipe that you could create such quick and easy projects with using the stamps and the supplies in your collection. So I'm going to stamp that little rocking chair on the right side. I am going to stamp this adorable little table with the glasses on top over here on the left side. And I have prepared 2 stamps from the same set. The top one says, "It's always a good day." And the bottom one says, when you take time for yourself. And I've been debating where I'm going to put these. I think I'll put them right there. So I'll get these inked up with my pecan pie ink. Is that right? I have to learn these new names. It is. It is pecan pie. We'll put this right here. And look how quickly this card came together. Now, if you are interested in more elaborate cards, you could easily just stamp this onto a white piece of cardstock instead of onto the card base itself, and then add that to another card base or add several layers. But this is the starting point for just some really quick and simple and nice cards. So let's make another one. This one, now if you're doing this at home, I would suggest you just start with your white cardstock. To save a little time, I went ahead and I attached my layers together, so that would already be done. But for this one, I want to do some blending inside of this oval, and we're going to use some different colors. A little more color. If you like more color than the neutrals I just showed, let's try this one. So on this one, I am going to start with which one should I start with? I think I'll start with my Petal Pink. And we'll start with that one at the top. Let's go with the top. I hadn't really decided ahead of time. I'm deciding right now. So pick up a little bit of this ink. And with these light colors, sometimes you really have to work hard to get that ink on there. It just depends on how much ink is on your pad and how light the color is. But that looks good. Next, I'm going to add some Bubble Bath. This is a fun new color. I have been going to bring my paper back in here so I can blot it off. This Bubble Bath, I'm really enjoying this color. So we'll add some of this in the center, and then Berry Burst is that color cardstock you see around the edges. It's a very pretty color. We will add some of that at the bottom. So this is where, when using light colors, I could keep going over this to make it darker if I want to. But in lieu of time, we will move on to Berry Burst. And here you can see where so much of that color is coming off. So I really have to be careful with this darker color. I'll start here on my template and slowly blend onto my project. And now I'm debating, should I do like yep, let's do it. Okay. Live life on the edge, right? I'm thinking it would be fun if I have just a little bit of darker around, all the way around the outside on this one. So we'll add a little bit of that Berry Burst all the way around the outside. Now's the fun part. We get to remove this piece and see what that looks like. And there is that lovely oval. Isn't that pretty? I just think this is so much fun. And I'm going to keep this super simple. I stamped those 2 little planters from the set. I use my water painters to color them in. Put some dimensionals on the back to pop them up a little bit. And I am going to set, I was debating, should we set them even? Should we offset them a little bit? I think we need a little offsetting here. That's my personal opinion. You are welcome to disagree with me. And now I am going to use this little stamp that says thanks. And I think I'll stamp it right there with, of course, the Berry Burst color because it will show up really nicely and I love it. So we'll stamp thanks right there. And now we have a second card that came together really quickly using this easy blending technique in the background. Now I have a third card to show you. This one is a little bit stepped up. I have some die cuts on it. I did a little bit more blending, so I'll explain how I made this one. And this is the one where those colors, it's really the only way I could do this card is with these small blending brushes. The big ones would just, the color would just take up more area. So you could make it with the bigger ones, but you wouldn't be able to get as many colors close together that show up separately. So on this one, I blended early espresso ink at the bottom. I did a strip of the pumpkin pie, I believe. Next was Calypso Coral, Balmy Blue, and Blueberry Bushel at the top. So I got a lot of different colors in there. I wanted to make it look like, kind of like the sunrise or sunset. So next I stamped this big rug stamp. I wasn't really sure how I was going to use that. And then I was like, okay, that would be perfect on this little porch scene. So I stamped the rug down there. I added I love this die with the post and the detail work up here at the top and the fencing. So I put that all in there, stamped the little greeting and die cut the rocking chair to put there in the front. So here are 3 ideas for how to create neat and beautiful cards with simple blended backgrounds. So thanks so much for watching along. If you're interested in any of these products, you can use links in the video description below to take a look at them. I really appreciate those of you who shop with me. You can earn free stamps through my Stamp and Rewards program, and you will get a personal thank you in the mail straight from me. And I think that's it for today. So thanks for being here. I hope you have a blessed day, and I hope you'll be back again next time when I'll be here helping you to hand make with love.